No one really ever directly was like, I want this to be aero. It was just more like, oh, can we get this tighter? Can we get that tighter kind of thing. Rules and regulations are a lot different in bike than they are in moto. Nico Mullally and the Frameworks team took it into the wind tunnel, got full data on that. And the data definitely confirmed like it's fast. Hitting a jump for the first time was something where they're like, well, this is different. Like I'm coming in at a different speed. It's faster and you can feel it. The minute they all started testing it, they're like, this is my kit from now on. So just make me more of these, please.
Keegan Reyfeldt, welcome to the Downtime Podcast. How's things with you today?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Yeah, really good. Thank you, man. I'm excited to chat. But before we do, just tell us what your job role is at Fox and like what that means in the day-to-day.
Yeah, so at Fox, I oversee all of we call it performance cut and sew. So it's like everything that is on bike or on moto, it's all the performance products. So I work with another team that had a lot of the graphics and color, and then another individual kind of oversees all lifestyle. But yeah, I kind of oversee all the performance products.
Exciting job, man. Exciting job. So yeah, you obviously have a really good view on downhill gear and technology. Like how have you seen downhill race kit progress, ahead of the SpeedSuit over the last, say, 5 to 10 years? Because it's changed quite a bit, right?
For sure. I mean, it went, of course, like there's just been a huge upswing and now kind of rule around pants. Like it used to be, shorts and all that. And now pants started taking over. And then you just started to see everyone and athletes kind of like slowly requesting tighter and, hey, can we get this out of here? Or can we get this wrinkle a little differently? And like you'd see it kind of progress, but no one really ever directly was like, I want this to be aero. It was just more like, oh, can we get this tighter? Can we get that tighter kind of thing? So it really just over time has gone from this oversized, kind of X style moto kit into more of this more fitted kind of style. Yeah.
Similar with moto, right? Like moto kits got tighter over the years as well.
For sure, especially on like, Pinnacle race kit. I mean, that thing is almost, if not as tight as like a Pinnacle downhill kit now. So they're very similar at this point, very similar needs. But yeah, just way more form fitting.
Yeah. So where does the idea then for the SpeedSuit RS come from? When did you start thinking that there was something to be had there?
The SpeedSuit RS was kind of an interesting one, how it came about. So we wanted to... There's a big conversation around, last year was Fox's 50th, and it was like, we have the pillars of honor the past, conquer today, and invent the future is kind of like how we see the brand. So coming to the 50th, we were like, how do we invent the future? A lot of times you look at 50 years and you're like, cool, let's look back. Let's look at what we've done. I mean, there are some iconic Fox kits that are always referenced. There's some strong graphic language that we've had as far as just like making iconic moments. But the big question on the 50 was like, how do we move forward? Like, what's the next step? And it came from we have a long time, he's a head of graphics. His name's Memo. He's worked here for a super long time, and he's always had this idea of a moto speed suit. And he was like, I want to bring a moto speed suit. Like, we should do that for the 50th. It'd be a wild, wild impactful moment. So we were like, cool, we got to do it. So we did it for moto. And then it was, well, how do we do this for bike? Like, how do we make this work knowing needs are very different, rules and regulations are a lot different in bike than they are in moto. So how do we make it work? And then once we were like, we can do this, like we can make this work. And now it's like, cool, now how do we grow this for bike specifically and really push it? So then it was like, the concept of the SpeedSuit was born for all performance categories for the 50th. It was like, cool, we're going to do it in moto and we're going to do it in bike. Now let's really kind of like make it specific to those needs. And that's when we started from bike side, looking at aero fabrics, looking at different ways of getting in, fitting, like how we can make this happen. But it really just came from the moto side of Memo being like, we really want to push and we want to invent the future to like for the 50th.
It's really cool, man. And we'll talk about the aero side of it, and obviously that's a big part of the SpeedSuit, but there's more to it than that, right? Like you were interested in kind of safety, integrated padding, and comfort for the athletes as well, right?
I think that's been one of the super fun, kind of unexpected takeaways was all the stuff that you could do with it. It started as like, cool, just be one piece, be really nice, convenient. And then you're like, whoa. Once we started diving into it, it was like, there's a lot of different levers you can pull doing this kind of style of kit. It's like, every athlete right now wearing one has almost a customized, well, the pattern is fully customized, but they can customize their level of protection. Some athletes like the more built-in, like the D3O, the foams. Other athletes like the hard race frame. And you were able to customize that. Some have, elbow pockets put in, some have shoulder protection. So it really is able to be customized to each athlete's need and want of like protection. So that's been a huge one. And then the comfort was another benefit that we're like, oh, it's 3 minutes, 4 minutes downhill run. This is all about performance. So, let's just focus on performance. And then what came out of it was actually this is actually really comfortable. So some of the athletes just prefer it from a comfort standpoint versus yes, there's a speed, yes, there's a aero benefit, but it was also even if it was neutral, they're this is just more comfortable. So there's been a big push just from that side where I was I had no idea that that would be another thing that was a big factor in this was just the comfort.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously the rules in mountain bike. You're kind of up against it because the sport that we had a skin suit phase, very different to the speed suit, but we had a skin suit phase however many years ago, and the sport was kind of keen to push that out. I think it was seen as not cool at the time.
For sure.
Talk to us about the rules side of things and how you've had to work around that to try and make something that is allowable on a World Cup circuit.
Yeah, so a similar time when we were doing this was when kind of a new rule regulation came out of having to do essentially a jersey and a pant had to be two pieces. And that kind of really got our creative thinking of cool, how can we do it in two pieces but differently? How can we get the benefit of a one kind of streamlined front, back kind of thing, and then but still play within the rules. So that's when we came about having the kind of jersey upper, which kind of carries the sleeves, and then it has that base layer-ish style where you can put all the protection in, whether it's back, chest, and then essentially the pants are our flex air pant with just a kind of over bib kind of style, just worn on the outside rather than under the jersey. So we really just looked at the layering technique and how you could wear it and get into it and still maintain essentially a proper jersey, and then just having a flex air pant with a bib attached to the top that normally you wear your road bibs or any other type of cycling liner bibs. It's a similar layering, it's just different.
Yeah, and you've got quite a few different materials used in different sections of the speed suit, right? Talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah, so it was really kind of taking on, we knew we wanted to keep it familiar to the athletes because again, it's this is a pretty significant change. And again, we didn't want to just make too many changes to where, again, they have to ride this, they have to be comfortable, they have to feel fast, they have to feel familiar enough to where it's this isn't a huge leap, but then also how do we make them feel fast? So it was that's always the big one, is perception is everything. So it literally the pant is the same pant material that they're used to riding day in, day out. That's what we had their previous kits in, that's what their current pants are in. So pant material, all the same that they're used to. Jersey material, very similar. The upper part of the pant is very similar to some of their previous race jerseys. So it was really looking at how can we manipulate those materials in different ways and kind of put them in the right places to get the fit, the stretch, the mobility we need. And then really the main one, the biggest fabric change that we introduced was more of an aero fabric for the sleeves, knowing that is a key area we could improve on. But yeah, most of the fabrics in it were from our current Flex Air line or from Flex Air jerseys and pants that we had created for the athletes in previous seasons. So when they felt it, they're oh, this feels like my normal kit, just in a new way, essentially.
Okay, yeah, familiarity is key, I guess, in that instance. But am I right in thinking material usage is aerodynamically optimum based on the kind of diameter of the cylinder it's wrapped around? So you might want something different on the arms versus the torso kind of thing?
Yeah, so that's why certain leading edges we wanted to bring in a certain aero fabric. We wanted to have different fabrics in different placements. So really kind of optimize where they were, because we were kind of starting to play with that a couple of seasons ago. Just more kind of behind the scenes, kind of just working on certain jerseys and being well, we could put it in here and not get too far. So we had been kind of slowly observing that and kind of getting there, but then this was the first time we really took it and went all in on I said a different shoulder and sleeve fabric and then body fabrics and stuff. So we had been working with that with athletes previously, kind of just more kind of low key, just like doing some stuff to try. And then this was the first time we took all that plus and kind of elevated as like the kind of forward facing like aero story.
Yeah, because the shoulders have got like it looks like a ribbing on them. Is that right?
Yep. So the shoulders have a ribbing. We worked with the mill to kind of optimize that for our athletes and what we really wanted to achieve. So that was a like specific fabric we reached out to a mill for, kind of with saying, hey, we're looking to do this. And we worked with them to find the right fabric for the application that would like meet our needs best. So yeah, it was a full work with the fabric mill specifically for that shoulder rib to get that to be what we wanted and to like achieve the results we wanted.
Fair play. Is that rib there to like shed airflow, or what's the intention of it? I guess it's an aerodynamic feature to some extent.
Yeah, it's to kind of get the wind to kind of disrupt the wind and then bring it back down again. So it's really to help pull it close to the body and kind of help on those leading edge to like pull it and then bring it back. So it kind of just helps with that disrupting of it at the front edge of the body.
Very cool, man. So how did you go about testing this thing? I'm assuming there's been like wind tunnels involved and a lot of fit testing and stuff. Talk to us a bit about that.
Yep. The wind fit testing was the biggest one of like, first, how does this work? Can we get this to work? What's the like ride? I mean, we made a couple of samples and fit them on in-house fit models to like see where it was. But the big test was, how does this ride? Because again, it's like, it could be the most aero thing in the world, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So we got a couple of in-house protos, had our fit model, put it on. There's definitely something there because it's again, similar reaction with this thing is super comfortable. And we're like, all right, something's going on there. And then we did bring Jackson and another athlete out and tested it kind of in our kind of local trails. One day, full blacked out version, just kind of took them off to some side trails and tested. And right away they were like, whoa, this is fast. And this feels really fast. So then we've been working on like getting that kind of figured out. And then just recently too, Nico Mullally and the Frameworks team took it into the wind tunnel, got full data on that. And the data definitely confirmed like it's fast. So that's great.
Is there any performance data that you're able to share on that? Like, have you got percentage deltas from a baseline kit or? Yeah,
they did test our inline flexor and then, or our whatever the athlete would receive normally, and then like a normal kind of our traditional jersey and pant. So they tested that, and then they tested it back to back with the SpeedSuit, and there are no numbers I can share, but it is fast. It is faster to where it's noticeable. So,
and do the athletes notice that? Have they fed back that they can feel a difference between a regular kit and the SpeedSuit? Because their kits these days, like especially those that are getting kits tailored specifically by Fox, like the fit's really good anyway.
For sure. It was interesting. The first round, we gave all of our athletes the kits or the SpeedSuit and said, hey, we kind of validated it. We got them fit for it. And then we gave them their first kind of like official ones. And there were definitely some initial reactions were pretty like super positive, but then also like a lot of athletes claimed like it's noticeable. Like hitting a jump for the first time was something where they're like, well, this is different. Like I'm coming in at a different speed, cornering everything. They were like, there definitely was some first lap kind of adjustments they made because they were like, this is different. It's different. It's faster, and you can feel it. So there was definitely some learning to be had after a couple laps in it.
Yeah. Did you ever have any concerns that the athletes might not be into it? Because there is that stigma around speed suits from that generation, right?
Yep, for sure. And that was always, from the initial idea with MX all the way to mountain bike, like we knew like this is going to push, this is going to be uncomfortable for some athletes. This is going to be something they may not want. But I know we left it up to athletes. We said, hey, this is what we're making. This is what we're, the innovation we're trying to push. This is the speed we're getting out of it. Like if you guys and I don't think we had any pushback. All athletes, as soon as they tried it on and gave it a couple laps, essentially all athletes I'm aware of were all in. Like they were like, we want this. And then it went from like, oh, we're going to do a couple here and there, until like, I want this full time. Like every race, every round, because we're like, oh, maybe, this round or whatever, or we could figure out what we want, what it looks like in the future. And then the minute they all started testing it, they're like, this is my kit from now on. So just make me more of these, please.
That's cool.
So it was really widely accepted.
Yeah, you can see how like significant it is for a lot of athletes when they're pushing you for a world champs version in the country's colors, right? I remember certainly Tani was racing world champs last year in a GB speed suit, and I assume you're busy making a few for the upcoming world champs this year too.
Yep. Yeah, that was the big one, was like the confidence that was built in it, of just comfort, perception, feel, data, numbers, like everything around it got to where, you talk to an athlete who's super dialed in their bike setup, their kit setup, like they didn't want to change. So that's when we had to all right, we got to figure this out now we have to make these. So, Jackson's got a leader suit version of it. And there's a lot of different versions we've had to make, because it has become their go-to down, for any run. They're like, this is what I want for my race run. This is what I want for practice. We originally were like, oh, this could be a race run or a qualies or, whatever. And then it just became, I want this all the time. So
I think Jackson's leader's suit had to be tweaked as well, right? Because then normally the suits have their race number on, but when you're leading the series, you have to run in a number 1 or something. And so that was like a late addition, right?
Yeah. So the best thing about Fox is we have an incredible tech design team here. So we have people in-house that are working on all the fit, working on the construction, sewing, and that team does some amazing work where overnight they can make a speed suit in a week and send it to Jackson so he has one for the next week or whatever needs come up. So we have an amazing tech design team here that they're able to turn something around so fast. So we'll print it, get it sewn in-house. We have all the fabrics just on the shelf waiting for whatever we might need. And then we're able to just get it to him as fast as he needs it. So that's why we try and plan ahead of time, but like I said, stuff like this or stuff like certain changes in the UCI rules or anything, you just got to keep moving. So yeah, the team here is able to turn that around so fast.
Nice. And how individual is the fit? I assume these are all completely bespoke to the athletes at this point, right? Yeah,
at this point it's 100%. Every athlete we have in it, it's a custom fit. And again, that kind of goes with their custom level of protection they want in it. So for them, it's amazing. It's something that they like. We do have to have a couple different times and fittings because, as these athletes come up from whether it's juniors into elites or whatever, bodies change and that changes the fit. And then there's so much that goes into just one thing starts to change and all of a sudden the whole speed suit's thrown off. So it really takes a lot of constant upgrades and tweaks and work from our fit and tech design team. Like I said, they are continually on it. We get emails from sports marketing of hey, this is fitting a little weird on the next round. Can we, slightly tweak something, or hey, something changed. So we've honestly constantly making fit updates.
Yeah. And RS stands for race spec. So it makes sense that these things are top end, athlete products, but is there ever an intention that this thing would be available more broadly? And if so, how would that work, I guess, because it is so specific on fit?
Yeah, at the moment, there's no plan to move forward with it as far as commercial. Could change, but at the moment it's not. I think that is a huge thing that we would or will need to figure out in the future, if that is a thing, because it is so custom and trying to fit everyone to certain, a classic small, medium, large, or whatever. It's going to would be a challenge. So it's something where at the moment, no plans to move forward, but it's something that we can look at potentially, or we are, it's just something that's there, but not at the moment.
Yeah. And is it open doors from an aesthetic design perspective as well, right? You've got a more a constant surface that
Yep.
that the top and the pants are going to link up. Has it changed how you design a kit?
For sure. I think that was something when we initially launched it, working with Memo, the graphics lead. We were looking at this, we're man, this opens up a lot of cool opportunities. So that last year, with being the first year, we really wanted to debut that and really show that on a lot of the kits. So a lot of times, you try and link it between the waistline and the pant, but depending on how tucked in it is and stuff like that, it changes. So since we had this opportunity of a larger side panel or a different back, we really tried to bring the graphics through the kind of hips area of the body to really show off that new thing. And the designers actually on the graphics side were super stoked because they were this is a cool opportunity we've never had before. We always have to design around the pant or design around the jersey. And because of the way it was designed and it's integrated, you could do some really fun new stuff to it, which has been pretty cool to see come alive.
It's been some very nice speed suit kits over the last couple of seasons. What was it like then when you first turned up with it in Fort William last year? Because I think we'd seen it in moto like a couple of weeks before, and there was speculation as to whether it would arrive in mountain bike, but no one knew. And then you turned up, and I think Tane posted a video of her in that like bright pink speed suit, and it kind of went viral pretty quickly.
For sure, yeah. That was like probably the best reaction we could hope for. Is like we wanted to come out and not just go viral, but just be fast. And then it kind of was like, also that course was great for it, just because it is a lot of open, fast sections. So like that's where it's going to excel. So it was a kind of perfect for us to launch there. So we kind of knew that was coming. So then, we made sure we had some key athletes and got like kind of their kits and got them all stoked on like what we were going to provide them as far as color and graphics and like what it would look like. And everyone was like all in to like really debut it. So it was a fun weekend because we were just like, oh, it's coming. We knew it was coming, and then to see everyone kind of just embrace it was great.
Yeah, and you had one of the team from HQ like with a sewing machine on site, tucked away, ready to make any modifications and stuff, right? You were well prepared for that weekend.
Yep, for sure. So that was Angela Hill. She runs our tech design team. So because it was such a new thing, big lift from when we kind of created it to like when it showed up to all the teams and the team managers, like there's a little bit of time just because we had to get it all made and manufactured at the factories. So we knew there might be some changes, and we knew, again, being the debut weekend, we're like, we have to make sure this is right, and we have to make sure this looks good. So she flew over there and had full sewing machine on site, like making any alterations or changes, just again, bodies changing in the off season and all that. So she was all there. I mean, it was an impressive weekend to have her kind of show up and be able to like turn all those speed suits and any changes just instantly for all the athletes. It was huge.
Yeah, I think she put a little like a piece of elastic on for Tani to tuck her gloves into, because normally she'd tuck them into the top of her pants.
I think that was one of the funniest takeaways we had as we created this whole speed suit. We're like, oh, here's the aero advantages. We can integrate protection. We can do all this stuff. And like during testing, one of the funny things that came up that we just had no idea is they're like, so where do I put my gloves? And I'm like, and you're like, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, when I get to the bottom of the run, I need somewhere to put my gloves, because like I said, they either tuck them in their waistband or they tuck them in different places. And I was like, of all the things we thought through and tried to like, make sure we have super dialed for everyone, glove storage was not one that we put into it. But it was huge because like if I'm on the podium, I want to put my gloves somewhere. So that first weekend they put a little elastic strip, and now if you look, all of them have like a little side just a little envelope pocket just to put their gloves in when they get to the bottom of the run. But I was like, nice. We planned for everything, and then of course something small like that is not thought of.
Amazing. There's going to be something, eh? And there was a protest from some of the teams that weekend, I think. What was it like to be involved in that?
Yeah, I was not directly involved. We had our sports marketing manager over for the first weekend, knowing some of the conversation may come up. But I think from, as far as I'm aware, all the conversation came around was the fact that it is two pieces. It is a jersey. It is, sponsor. Everything is matching what needs, and then is a pant with essentially a bib upper. So it is still meant to be two pieces, and that was the kind of conversation. So I was not directly involved in those conversations. I was back here, but yeah. So I heard it. There was a whole meeting and conversation, and everything went well for us. So came out with making it work.
Yeah, and you got plenty of attention as a result, right? It was a lot of media coming your way that weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone wants to know about it. Like I said, just reposts and posts, and a lot of conversation across all media outlets of like, again, is this a speed suit, skin suit? How does this work? And just a lot of unknowns too, because I think it was so new. Not many people were fully aware like how it worked and what it was, because from the outside it just looks like a one piece, kind of like a skin suit. But when you actually started breaking it down and talking through it, it's like, oh no, there's actually multiple pieces to it, and it can integrate different ways. So yeah, so once we started kind of explaining it more, and now it's kind of become pretty widely accepted. Like I mean, you still have some controversy, but everyone loves it. And now I think it's the way it's like all our athletes just want that.
Yeah. Are you surprised that more companies haven't followed suit? I mean, we're, a season and a half on now from when you launched it, and we've not seen anyone try and take that on. Is that a surprise?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. I think we're all waiting. I think we know, like, it's because we know kind of how fast it is. We're like, and we're starting to see the win margins. We're like, this is a thing. So like, we're like, we know there's got to be some more being made or worked on, or someone's got to be doing something. So we're definitely not resting. I'll say that. Like we know there's probably someone coming. So we've got some other stuff we're working on too. So I know that kind of motivation to continue to lead and kind of like innovate the future. And we're definitely keeping our foot on the gas, knowing that there's got to be some follow-up for sure.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to ask where you see the future of downhill race gear going, and I'm sure there's not, you don't want to give away too many secrets, but what sort of trajectory do you see ahead for the next like 5 to 10 years?
I mean, as we see, every weekend times are getting tighter and tighter and tighter. There's really, there's not a rest lap you can do on the entire weekend. It's like from practice to qualies to finals, like every race is a race run, or every lap is a race run. So I think our biggest thing is just continuing to do a weekend to make the riders faster. Like, again, we've got some things we're working on as far as like what's version 2.0 of this and how do we keep this going, knowing what it provides and knowing the speeds that it does, and also knowing the speeds of the athletes is like really good. And then a lot of the athlete feedback has been great as far as like where we can improve, what needs to change, how do we kind of keep thinking this kind of like this way to keep things moving forward. So I'd say we definitely have a lot of ideas. Like I said, luckily we have this prototype room and this great tech team that can help bring some of these to life, because we have a whole bunch of new protos that we've been working on, and now we're just going to start testing and seeing kind of what the future lands and kind of where some of these new ideas go. So that's been the fun thing, is just the athlete lineup we have has been amazing to like really give input and be willing to try new stuff and kind of do these off season or whenever they can testing, and they're really kind of hungry for it. And then, like I said, we have the team set up here to be able to bring those things to life. So you kind of have the perfect combination of like, you have an idea, like, let's make it, let's try it, like we had an athlete be like, I don't know if this is going to be something or not, but I have this idea. I'm like, cool. So I talked to Angela, and we've got our tech teams sewing one up right now to see how it works.
So. That's cool, man. That's really cool. And where do you look for inspiration for this sort of stuff? Because I guess road cycling is like they're into the tight margins, they're into tight fitting kit, and they're into aerodynamic advantage. So I'm assuming there's a lot can be learned there. Like, do you look at that a lot, and are there other sports or areas that you look to?
Yeah, I'd say, road is definitely a huge driver of it, just because, that's all road is aero at this point. Of course, it's fitness and everything, but like as far as innovation and product, like it's all those marginal gains through aero. So you start to see that, and then like once you start working with certain, like we start looking at fabrics. Fabrics are the huge one as far as unlocking a lot of this. The innovation that's come in the fabric space because of the push from road and because of pushes from other industries has really been cool to see from our side of like talking to certain mills, having these certain like kind of challenges that we can present to them and be like, hey, we're looking for this. And they're like, well, we can start working on something for you. So the mills are really kind of seeing the value in developing and working with us on this stuff. And then, yeah, road is big. Anything, I don't know, I'm always looking around at anything racing wise, like whether it's downhill, whether it's skiing, whether it's F1, like anything really where wind, speed, anything is a factor. And it's like, how can we get faster is always the goal. So it's looking at things all around. It's like now the thing of like, how can we keep this going?
Interesting, man. Thanks, Keegan. It's been really fun, like hearing your story and learning a bit more about the SpeedSuit. I'm looking forward to seeing SpeedSuit RS V2.0 in hopefully the not too distant future. If people want to check out the SpeedSuit and other Fox stuff, where should they be looking these days?
Website's the best. Any social media too. You follow all our athletes. They're usually posting the first ones to post the new kits every weekend. I know that's something that we as a brand like to do. That is something our graphic team likes to do. So anytime, I'd say social media and our website is going to be the best, because that's where it all comes.
Nice one. I'll stick links in the show notes. People can find that. But yeah, thanks for your time, Keegan. It's been super interesting.
Thank you. It's been fun.